Okay, welcome to Economics 8.3. Now we're going to talk about federal spending. Now that we've talked about taxes and the government collecting our money, let's talk about how they spend it. So you'll be happy to see there's only 3 vocabulary terms for this one. Yay! The first one is mandatory spending. And this is spending that Congress is required to do by a law. Like Social Security is a law. We have to pay people Social Security. Welfare is a law. We have to pay people welfare if they qualify. There's certain things that we have to pay because there's a law on it. Discretionary spending, this is one where Congress is free to go, yeah, I don't want to pay for that anymore. Ooh, let's do that program. That is the amount that they can use year to year to further their own agenda, like helping the poor, something like that. One of the big problems with discretionary spending, though, is the military falls under discretionary spending. It is not mandatory spending, so that tends to be the one area where the government will make some of the biggest cuts is military spending, and we'll talk about why later on. We also have entitlements. These are programs that people are entitled to. In other words, if I qualify for welfare, then I'm going to get it. An example for you guys right now, you're seniors, if you're going to college or some type of trade school, you are entitled to Tennessee Promise if you get a 21 on the ACT or you have whatever the GPA is. You're not competing against anybody else for it. It's not like there's 2 of you up for the scholarship and only one can get it. If 2 of you qualify, both of you will get it. That's an entitlement program. And I just have a little question. If you have to spend your money, how easily do you spend it? But now, if it's your parents' money, and we've all done this, I know. If it's my dad buying, oh yeah, I want it. But if it's me buying, maybe I can do without it. Now, think about the people that are in our government offices. They get $4 trillion a year to just spend. Yeah. Yep. In 2012, our presidential candidates were Mitt Romney and Barack Obama, and they talked a lot about how the government is spending money. And that still tends to be a big political discussion to this day. Some people want to do more programs to help people, and other people want to cut taxes, and therefore that's going to cut spending. Now, if we look at federal spending in 2012, you can see the biggest piece of the pie there at 21.9% is the amount of Social Security we pay out. The second biggest one is defense. Look at that. Now, it's interesting because Social Security is a mandatory expenditure. We have to pay it. It's by law. But defense is not. It's discretionary. Again, we'll talk again about these entitlement programs. If you qualify for these programs, you're going to get it. It's not like they're saying, oh, we've got room for 1,000 welfare recipients. So whoever gets picked, just 1,000 people will receive those benefits. It doesn't work that way. If 1 million people qualify for welfare, then 1 million people are going to get welfare. It's that simple. But, because mandatory spending has risen, we don't have as much discretionary spending. Entitlement programs are becoming a major concern for people in government because they've become so costly. And here's one of the reasons why. If you look back prior to 1975, we had more discretionary funds than we did mandatory. We had more money that administrations could look at and go, ooh, let's do this program, or let's go help this. Well, around 1975, they broke even, and now look, they're mirror images of each other. We have more mandatory spending than we do discretionary. So a lot of those discretionary expenses, like the military, we're having to go, yeah, you can't have as much money. Sorry. Our budget over here is rising faster, so we got to cut you down. Now here is a protest for people saying hands off Social Security. It has been talked about for years now that my generation might not get Social Security. Talking about changing the amount people get, writing it down, making it privatized instead of public. And these people are arguing that. They don't want that to happen. Now, again, I've heard all my life that Social Security might not be there when I retire, not to count on it. Let me show you why. Here is the big problem. Okay? No, let's go green. Here is the big problem. This is the baby boom generation right here. And this was in 1980. So all of a sudden, we've got these, kids that are born. They're now 15 to 20. They're out in the workforce. That's why we start here. They're in the workforce. So all these people here, we're going to go from this bar down. They are making money to help pay Social Security for this group up here at the top. So 1 in 10 Americans were age 65 and older. And it took 3.2 workers to pull in enough taxes to pay one Social Security member. Now let's look at 235. This is projected. We got 15 years. All these baby boomers are going to be on Social Security. So now instead of 1 in 10 Americans are 65 and older, we have 1 in 5 Americans 65 and older. And now it takes 2.1 workers per Social Security beneficiary. And if you look at this in 1980, this looks more like a pyramid. And this is starting to look, straight up and down right there. Discretionary funds, again, those are ones that we can, sorry about that. Those are ones that we can choose what we're going to do. We could say, you know what, I don't want to spend 10 million on it this year. I want to only spend 5 million. And here's why the defense tends to be the first ones on the chopping block when it comes to money. If we look at discretionary spending in 2012, the circle represents all spending. So you got 63.6 that's mandatory. It's decreed by law. We have to spend that. So the blue section is discretionary. If you take that blue piece of the pie and we look to the right, look at the purple. That much of it is military defense. So if you've got to cut a couple $1 million out of the budget, where's the easiest place to go? Well, you got to go to discretionary spending and let's take it from defense because it's the biggest piece of the pie. Now, again, discretionary spending. It helps pay for inspectors like this when trucks cross the border to make sure they're not bringing something illegal or terrorist threats. And that is going to be the end of 8.3. So hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you for the next lesson.